Hello everyone, this is by the Fireside. Today I'm going to read The Fulfilled Prophecy by Clark Ashton Smith. You may set this story down as a case of coincidence. Indeed, you may not believe it at all. But the facts are well authenticated, and to my mind are far too remarkable to be accounted for by the coincidence theory. I found the first part in an old Telugu manuscript, written perhaps 7 centuries ago, and which today is in a private library in Madras. If fate or curiosity should ever take you to that city, and you obtain access to this library, you will discover this manuscript, and may read it for yourself. The thing is purported to have been written by one Vikram Rao, a priest, who in his time was of much importance in Rajapur, a kingdom of the Deccan, which ceased to exist, politically speaking, about 3 centuries ago. Skipping a considerable amount of literature pertaining to himself, and the virtues of Natha Singh, the then Raja of Rajapur, the manuscript ran somewhat as follows. It was during the reign of this most beneficent ruler, Natha Singh, that the strange event which I am about to relate occurred. It happened in the order of things set down by the fate that the omniscient Natha Singh, on a Wednesday, called his viziers about him, and sat on his throne in the hall of audience to dispense justice to his subjects. And it came to pass that many cases were judged by the omnipotent ruler, whose decisions were wise and just to all. At length there entered the audience hall a wandering jackal. Upon his face were the marks of years, and his long locks were as the snows of the eternal Himalayas. Natha Singh leaned toward him expectantly, and all present awaited his complaint in silence. For a space he spoke not, his eyes, which glowed strangely, as one who sees many things, fixed upon the Raja's countenance. At length he spoke, and his words fell heavily upon the ears of the hearers. Know ye, Natha Singh, he said, that thy kingdom shall come to an end. This shall not happen in thy days, or in the days of thy sons, but many years hence, when thou and many that shall follow thee are but memories of yesterday, then shall come from the north a great army, and at the head shall ride a warrior on a white horse, whose birth was in a far land. He is a mighty general, and his men are as the sands of the sea. And before them the warriors of the Raja shall melt even as snow in the desert. And on that day shall Rajapur fall, and those dwelling therein be given over to the sword. And before the sun has set, the reigning Raja shall die, and his kingdom shall pass to his conquerors. And after him there shall be no more of thy race, and Rajapur shall be but a province of a mighty empire. And upon the throne he of the white horse shall rule, as a governor holding office under an emperor. The jackal ceased. For a space he stood silently, and then he turned to go. Slowly he passed from the audience hall and into the streets of Rajapur. For a time there seemed a presage of gloom within the hall, and the Raja wondered if indeed this strange prophecy should ever be fulfilled. But the jackal had passed from Rajapur, and no man might say where he had gone. In his eyes was the look of one who had seen many things. Several months later, while at Hyderabad, I came across the sequel. A friend to whom I related the story contained in Vikram Rao's manuscript supplied me with the history of the wars of Akbar. Opening one of the volumes, he pointed out a passage describing the fall of Rajapur. The book was by a native historian, little known even in India nowadays, and was authentic in every particular. The author, who lived during the reign of Shah Jahan, had taken great pains to make his work complete and accurate. The passage pointed out by my friend was as follows. Abdul Marash, the famous general, after his conquests in Rajputana, was sent by Akbar to conduct a war in the Deccan. His extensive and successful services had earned him the entire confidence of his master, and, in this new campaign, he more than fulfilled Akbar's expectations. Abdul Marash carried all before him. Several minor states he crushed at one blow. At length he came to Rajapur, a large and important kingdom situated in a fertile plain of the southern Deccan, and ruled over by a prince named Nasir Singh. Nasir's army, which he led in person, met Abdul Marash on the plains without the walls. The great general, mounted on a white horse, headed the charge, and carried his foes before him like reeds in a storm. Soon all was over, and Nasir Singh's army, in which was the flower of Rajapur, lay dead upon the field, or was captive to the conqueror. Nasir himself escaped, and reached the city in safety. Rajapur was taken in the same day. Abdul Marash, too impatient to await the following day, pressed on, and ordered an immediate attack. All was carried, Rajapur sacked, and Nasir Singh slain in a vain attempt at escape before sunset. As a reward for his distinguished services, Abdul Marash was created Subadar, or governor, of this new province.